everyone, myself Presla. This is a new initiative brought to you by Transform IAS Academy. In this we will be detailing the current affairs on a daily basis related to UPSC and KPSC exams. So let's get started for 29/6/2018, the Hindu analysis. So the first news item, the revised relations with Iran Haley tells India. So here basically we're talking about the US, India and Iran issue. The UN envoy to the UN Nikki Haley called India to rethink its relationship with Iran. India is Iran's second biggest oil importer after China. The State Department official of US had clarified that India must comply with the US sanctions against the Iran and bringing the oil imports to zero by November 4th. So this is basically the State Department official of US is putting a pressure on India to get compiled with the sanctions to what US has been asking India to do on pertaining to the importing the oils from Iran. So however, this is looking to be difficult because New Delhi had committed to raising its imports from Tehran by as much as 25% after a visit by Iranian President Rouhani in February this year. And the US strictures follow President Trump's decision to pull out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, multilateral nuclear deal, and subsequently bringing the Countering America's Adversaries through Sanctions Act, law that sanctions countries dealing with the Washington's adversaries. And the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj had been more categorical about maintaining the ties with Tehran by saying that India would comply only with the UN sanctions and not the US sanctions. So it is like the External Affairs Minister has been made up a statement to relying that they would be compiling only with the UN sanctions and not with US sanctions. So this is the issues with it. And next we have, so Hyderabad may house first government blockchain center. So blockchain can be thought of as a public account ledger and also as an immutable, transparent and permanent one. Each transaction is recorded and stored in the ledger. So every transaction adds a block to the chain of transactions and each one is evaluated by every user based on algorithms they have agreed upon. Rather than being kept in single location, a copy of the blockchain is stored on every user's server so that the user cannot alter it without others user finding it, right? This is basically adding the block to the chain so that it's not only having kept in a single location, but it can be blocked and stored in every user's server so that easily the alteration for the particular blockchain can be done. It can't be done. So that they can do to what has to be done, and each transaction is recorded to the ledger after verification by the network participants, mainly a chain of computers called nodes. Then we have, while the origin of the technology still that we are not clear about it, but widely person assume that Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto, who invented the bitcoins, released the technology to support the cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is just one of the applications of the technology because due to its unique attributes of the trust, transparency and immutability, such as system is expected to mitigate issues like vote manipulation in political purposes. In India, there is a consortium bank chain which has about 27 banks from India, including SBI and also ICICI, and the Middle East as its members. So this particular consortium is about exploring using the usage of the blockchain technology to make a business safer, faster and cheaper. So this is about the consortium. And the Institute for Development and Research in Banking Technology, an arm of the RBI, is developing the model platform for blockchain technology. So this is the developments to what's happening in India with respect to the blockchain technology. And we have the UGC to be replaced with HECI. This is the news to what we covered yesterday, that is on 28/6/2018. So you have the chatting out here, old versus the new. So how different is the proposed Higher Education Commission from the present University Grants Commission? First and foremost, financial and academic powers. When we talk about the financial and academic powers, UGC, it disperses the grants to central institution out of its funds. Academic, UGC is mandated to promote and coordinate the university education and determine and maintain the standards of teaching, examination and also the research. HECI has no such powers to give any grants. So academically, the difference between the UGC and HE is that it will, in sense HECI, it will specifically standards for the grant of the authorization to a university or a higher educational institution to commence its academic operations, right? That's the difference between the functional and financial and the academic powers. We have to talk about the inspection. UGC used to access the financial needs or standards of teaching in an institution. UGC conducts the periodic inspections, but HEC has no such inspections because it will only prescribe the norms on the academic performance by higher educational institution. So this is about the difference between UGC and HECI when it comes to inspection. But when it comes to institutions, so here we have the UGC, which is the affiliations of the colleges to universities, and it can also terminate the contraventions of its regulations. It can withhold the grants to universities for the violations of its regulations. It occasionally publishes a list of the bogus institutions. But wherein HECI, it will be empowered to penalize or even shut down the substandard institutions without affecting the students' interest. So this is basically, this the management of the institution does not compile with the penalties or something as such. They can land in jail for up to 3 years. So when we talk about the composition, UGC, it has a chairman, a vice chairman. It also has 10 members appointed by the central government, some ex officio members, and also some from academia and industry. And the chairman's retirement age is 65 years and the term is for 5 years, and he is being permitted for 2 terms. Wherein for HECI, it shall comprise a chairperson and a vice chairperson and 12 members to be appointed by the center, including the educationist and the member of the industry. The chairman's retirement age is 70 years, will hold office for 5 years. Right? So this particular person is for 65 years, wherein it's for 70 years, and the HEC will hold the office for almost 5 years. And the disputes, when we talk about the disputes, UGC, in case of any disputes between the center and the UGC on the policy, the center would prevail it, wherein HEC, the center prevails again. So when it comes to regular staff, UGC appoints its own staff. The present staff will be retrained to work on fully digital mode without physical flies at HECI, wherein HEC will have its own regular staff. They'll come up with their own regular staff, and these are the main important changes. The replacement, if UGC has been replaced by HEC, this would be the changes happening to it. Okay. The next one, Karif sowing on but no word on MSPs. So we are basically talking about the minimum support price. So during the budget 2018, the government had decided to offer a minimum support price of at least 1.5 times the expenses borne by the farmers for all the crops, which was in line with the government objective of doubling the farmer income by 2022. So however, right now the Karif sowing is on, but the farmers are still waiting for the announcement of the minimum support prices for major crops. So the MSP has been announced by the government of India for 25 crops currently at the beginning of each season, like Rabi and the Kharif seasons, that the crops. The cereals which should be included under the 25 crops list is paddy, wheat, barley, jowar, bajra, maize and ragi. Under pulses we have the gram, tur, moong, urd and lentil. And under oil seeds we have the groundnut, rapeseed, that is mustard, thoria, soybean, sunflower seed, sesame. Then we have the safflower seed and the niger seed. Then we have the copra, dehusked coconut, raw jute and sugarcane. Fair and remunerative prices. So these are the 25 crops which is where the government is currently issuing with the MSP, minimum support prices. The next news item is Biodiversity Treaty, a hurdle to conservation research. So we are basically talking about the Convention on Biological Diversity, and it's also called as a Biodiversity Convention, is a multilateral treaty. So this particular convention has 3 main goals. One is the conservation of biological diversity. Second comes sustainable use of its components. Third, the fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising from the genetic resources. So this convention was actually opened for signature on the Earth Summit, at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro on 5th June 1991 and entered into force on 29th December 1993. And at 2010, the 10th Conference of Parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity in October in Nagoya, Japan, and the protocol which was adopted was called as a Nagoya Protocol. And according to the scientists, the CBD of which India is signatory to is hindering the biodiversity research and preventing the international collaborations. So this is according to this particular scientist, this is a particular outcome to what they are saying, that India is a signatory to for the CBD, and it is also hindering the biodiversity research and preventing the international collaborations. Thus, this was revealed by the scientist in a communication published on June 28th in the journal Science. An international team of the scientists, including professors at India's Kerala Agriculture University and Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and also the Environment. And 172 scientists from 35 countries have expressed the support to critique of the CBD. So this is about the CBD, Convention of Biological Diversity. Then we have the Seed Treaty. So International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, or the Seed Treaty, could be used as a model of exchange of biological materials for non-commercial researchers. So Seed Treaty ensures worldwide public accessibility of genetic resources of essential food and fodder. So this is about the Seed Treaty. You have to just understand to them more in detail. Kindly do up with your works. So another solution to maybe to add an implicit treaty or annex in the CBD to promote and facilitate the biodiversity research again, and also conservation and international collaborations. So this was the main connections with the CBD and the Seed Treaty. The next news item, target incomes, not the prices. So India's farm policy issue, which is biggest issue right now. So there are some important issues which has been involved in the farm sector and led to this crisis situation. First and foremost, it's a good rains, excessive sowing and the bumper harvest last year produced a kind of an market unrest and also leading to the farmers' incomes to get crashed up. Secondly, the economic tools available for protecting the farm incomes, especially the price support scheme or the price stabilization fund and the market intervention scheme, were not successful in solving the crisis situation. Steps like quick and precise judgments to the export and import rules could have addressed the price falls by diverting the excess supplies to overseas market, but this step was not taken on time. So the important MSP issues are, this year the budget promised that the MSP would be at least 150% of the production cost. Secondly, the intention of assuring the 50% profit margin over the cost of production is to make the farming remunerative, very importantly, and however, simply announcing the higher MSP will not solve the problem. And for several crops last year, the quantities produced were very small portion of the total produce, and the procurement is conducted only for paddy, wheat and sugarcane. So here the procurement frequently takes place at the prices below the MSP. As a result, small and vulnerable farmers do not get paid the MSC at all. So this is a situation to the frequencies where the small farmers and vulnerable farmers are not being paid up with the MSPs, and they sell that produce to the aggregators and not directly to the mandis. And the depressed market prices and mounting farmer losses are a direct consequences of the malnutrition in agri pricing policies. And we also have the price differential payments, like we have the projects that has MSP of the paddy for 2018-19 kharif seasons will have to be raised to 11 to 14%, and cotton from 19 to 28%, and jowar from 42 to 44%. The response to this, the farmers need to sow more jowar in the next season, and demand-supply mismatch would be inevitable, which would extend the market prices for jowar below the announced MSPs. So we have the pricing policies distort the market prices and send the wrong signal to the farmers on what to produce and how much to. The next news item, reducing the plastic pollution. So the plastic waste management rules of 2016 are the sharpest prongs in India's legal arsenal against the plastic. This is to strengthen the concept of extended producer's responsibility, whereby the plastic manufacturers and the retail establishments that use the plastics are legally bound to introduce a system of collecting back the plastic waste. So the rules that actually direct the plastic waste management fee to be collected through a pre-registration of the producers, importers of the plastic bags for establishing a waste management system. So we have the rules also mandate to increase, there should be an increase in the thickness of the carry bags and also the plastic sheets from 40 to 50 microns. And the rules envisage promoting the use of plastic waste for road constructions and also for the energy recovery, waste to oil, etc. And the country has to move towards a regime where the plastic waste is treated and recycled rather than engage in erotic about the banning the product. And this is for 29/6/2018.